Namaste and welcome to React With. Today I'm super excited to be making this video as Appwrite had just announced the release of version 0.7 with tons of new features, updates and fixes. In this video we will spin up Appwrite 0.7 and look at some of the important features. So let's get started. First, in order to quickly install Appwrite 0.7 in the appwrite.io, tap on the Get Started button and just simply copy this script. If you are on Unix, if you are on Windows command prompt, you can copy this script, and if you are using Windows PowerShell, you can copy this script in order to install. I'm on Unix, Linux, so I can just copy this and I can open up a terminal in a folder where you want to save your data. So let me just go to temporary directory. I have already installed, so I just want to run this to show you. And this works on bash shell without changing anything, but I am on fish shell, so I need to just remove this in fish shell. Tap enter. And we can choose our different port, like let's choose a different port for this HTTPS port, let's say 8. You can add your default API secret. Host name, let's leave it localhost. This can be localhost, and now it's running. I don't want it to run. I will simply close this. Okay, I already have a running 0.7 here and it's running on my localhost in 4005 port. And when you first open, you will be taken to the Appwrite console where you can sign in or you can sign up. So instead of sign in, I will sign up first. So let me So let's just provide some information and sign in. So this is the project dashboard. We can have multiple projects in our Appwrite installation. Let me quickly create a project. Testing Appwrite 0.7. Create. Okay, here is the new dashboard. Not that different from the previous one, but we'll see what changes are there. First, we have this new parameter func execution, that is Appwrite Cloud Functions, and one of the major feature released in this 0.7 is the cloud functions. We'll look at it. Apart from that, we already had database, we already had storage, we already had users, teams and OAuth providers. I guess we have more OAuth providers added. One of them, I can see it here, ThreadShift was a recent addition. And if we go to teams, we can create team 1. Let's create team 1. And previously, we were not able to add members to the team, but right now we can do that easily right from the console. Okay. And I think we did not have delete user facility in the console. I think we have that now as well. User 1, create, and if we go to user 1, we can block this account and now we have delete user. Next, if we go back in teams, we can add members, email, user 1, we can give different role, we can assign role. Let's say user, add member. So user 1 has 2 roles. We can go to user 1 already. Okay, so we can see our stats. We have 1 user. In storage, we don't have any files, documents or anything. So let's move on to the functions. Here we have Appwrite Cloud Functions, which is a way for us to execute external code using Appwrite based on a schedule or a Appwrite server event. So let's see how it works. So we have add function where we can name the function. Let's name it test function. And the cool thing about this is that we can write our cloud functions in many different languages. Right now, here only Node.js, PHP, Ruby, Python, Deno, and .NET are shown, but I can quickly show you. So when you run Appwrite install, an Appwrite folder is created in your working directory, and if you see, there are two files, .env and docker-compose.yaml file. So I can open this in Visual Studio Code, and we can see that if we look at the .env, we can see the app function envs. So this will determine which environments are enabled. So right now only Node, Deno, PHP, Python, Ruby, and .NET are enabled, but we have a lot more support, like we have Dart Cloud Function support as well. So let me quickly change to my running server here, and let's add here Dart 2.10, and let me go to the terminal. Up-T. So once you change the environment variable, you need to run this command in order for it to take the new environment variable. Once it's done, let me refresh this. Let's see if Dart is available. See, now Dart 2.10 is also available as a functions environment. In the name, we can give any name, test function. We can choose Node.js or Python or Dart, anything we like. Let's choose Dart here and tap create. Let's remove this. So we now have a cloud function that we can write with Dart and execute. Okay. And here is option for deploying tag. We can deploy tags using Appwrite CLI, or we can manually deploy and we can monitor the executions, failures, CPU times, everything. We can check the logs of the function. So if we print anything in the console in our functions, the logs will be shown here. And in the settings, we can see what the function has access to, what's the timeout, and what events trigger this function. So we can select triggers based on events. So we can say that whenever an account is created, run this function. Or we can say whenever account update preferences, run this function. Or instead of that, we can also schedule this function to run every hour, every day using cron syntax. So any valid cron syntax will work here. And we can add different environment variables that are required for this function to execute. In some of my later tutorials that I have planned for, I'll show how to write cloud functions for Appwrite. Or right now, if you want to check out how cloud functions are written for Appwrite, you can go to the functions demo. Appwrite has demos for functions repository where you can see functions demo in different languages. So if we go inside Dart, we can find there are quite a few functions: hello world, storage cleaner, welcome email. So you can check one of these functions, learn how to deploy these, and deploy it and see it in action as well. So this is about Appwrite cloud functions. So if you have not subscribed, subscribe my channel, because in the later stage I have planned more videos for Appwrite 0.7 where we'll learn how to write cloud functions, how to use it with Flutter Web. So to mention, Appwrite 0.7 now with new Flutter SDK has support for Flutter Web, and desktop support is coming soon as well. So another major feature released in this version is the Appwrite CLI. So if we go to the docs and in the left hand side, we can see getting started. Under getting started section, we have Appwrite CLI. So if we tap here, we can see how we can install and run Appwrite CLI. So installation, let's try it for Mac, Windows and Linux. So for Linux, let me just copy this installation script. Okay, and we can simply run it in the terminal. I already have this installed, so I'm not going to run it again. Once you run this script, you can see you can run Appwrite version. If I run Appwrite version, so CLI version is 0.4.0 and the server version is 0.7.0. Once the installation process is complete, you can run Appwrite init in order to initialize Appwrite. So let me go to bash Appwrite init. So we need to pass our endpoint. If you check, for me it's appwrite.test test 4.05 v1, and we need a project ID. We can find it from here in our dashboard. If we go to settings, we find our project ID. Just copy this, paste it here, and finally we need the API key. We can create this from API keys, add key, let's call it CLI, and select everything. We want CLI to be able to do everything, and create. So the secret, let's copy it, paste it, and local, leave it as it is. Let me move this aside here. Now our Appwrite init is successful. We can see what is possible. So if we run Appwrite help, we can see that, let me just zoom out a bit. So we can see we have avatars, database, functions, health, local, storage, teams, users, services. So all those things you can do from an Appwrite SDK, you can do from Appwrite CLI. So if you have previously used Appwrite SDK, using CLI is simple as that. So let's check Appwrite users help. So we can run help in every step for everything so that we can see details. So Appwrite users have certain endpoints, like we can list user, create, get, delete, get logs, get prefs, all those things. So we can even see help for each individual command. So Appwrite users list help. So list of all the project users, you can use the query parameters to filter your results. So we can filter using search, limit, offset, order type. So let's see, Appwrite users list limit 1. We only have one user, but sum 1, and our users is this. And we have another, like we can get individual user using this ID. So what we can do, Appwrite users get user ID equals this ID, and tap enter. So we get user ID. ID is this, name user1, registration, email, we can see all those details. So this is how we can use Appwrite CLI, and we can perform any action that Appwrite SDK can from Appwrite CLI to interact with Appwrite server. And this is quite awesome. We can do everything we want inside our Appwrite project, inside our Appwrite console, right from our CLI, and it works in Mac, Windows and Linux. That's quite awesome. Now, if you head over to the Appwrite 0.7 release announcement post in Medium, the link is provided in the description. You can see what functions have been introduced. So in the title, we can see that cloud functions, Appwrite CLI, we just looked at them both. And then we have Flutter Web support. I talked about it, but we'll see that in action in some other episodes. And then 100 plus new updates. So let's see what other things we have. So cloud functions, we looked at it. We have multiple environments. And then we have Appwrite CLI. So allows us to interact with Appwrite server-side APIs. So Appwrite CLI works with server-side APIs, not the client-side. Next, we have a huge performance boost. So 90% improvement for requests per second. So this is quite huge in comparison to 0.7. And now there is support for Broadly compression. It shows 14 to 21% reduced network traffic with Broadly compression. We have a microservice architecture. Most of our images are based on Alpine OS based images, so it's light and performant. Then we have Appwrite Doctor inspired from Flutter Doctor. We can see it in action. So let me go to my installation folder. So Appwrite 0.7. You can go inside your own installation folder and then run Appwrite Doctor. So once we run this, the Doctor runs. Hostname has no public suffix. I know that. CNAME target not using unique secret key for encryption. That's okay. App environment is set for production. Great. Protection. Abuse protection is enabled. Console access limits are disabled. So we can limit access to Appwrite console. HTTPS force option is disabled because I am in localhost and I am not using for you. Some of these settings might be different, like HTTPS force option is enabled maybe, and you might be using unique secret key during installation. That's something. And we have like database is connected, working, queue is connected, working, cache, SMTP, statsd, influxdb, everything is connected and working. Volume is all readable and writable where required. And checking disk space, we have enough disk space, and you are running the latest version of Appwrite. That's awesome. So we have Appwrite Doctor. Let's see. Next, support for Flutter Web. So 0.7 with the new Flutter SDK 0.3.0, we now support Flutter Web. We'll see that in action, and we are already started working on like desktop support for Mac OS, Linux and Windows, and hopefully some exciting news will be coming soon. Finally, to view all the changes, what updates and changes have been made, we can head over to the change log. I'll provide the links in the description so we can see all these things in the change log. See user interface, updated grid for OAuth 2, Google Fonts to Appwrite for offline availability, added option to delete user from console. This is what I was talking about. Delete team, add team members, option to view team members from console itself, option to assign new team members to team from console and API. Okay, so lots of new improvements, upgrades, breaking changes, very few breaking changes, and measure quite a few bug fixes, security. These kind of enhancements have been made. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I'm super excited to be working with Appwrite 0.7. I hope you are too, that it brings lots of new features. I hope that will help you for the development of your project. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can either join Appwrite Discord. The link is provided in the description, as well as you can contact me here in Facebook, tag me on Twitter. So if you have any questions or any issues regarding Appwrite, do come join us at Appwrite Discord as well. Thank you. See you again in the next episode.